President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has confirmed and announced the death of the Nigeria immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari at a London hospital at about 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, after years of rumours and speculations by the detained leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that the person that ruled Nigeria for the last 8 years died few years after he took over office on May 29, 2015. The news of former President Buhari's death came at a time the ex-president was a major point of discussion during the preceding week after the personal media aide to the late president, Garba Shehu, confessed he lied to cover up the health issues of the then President Muhammadu Buhari, a confession the Indigenous People of Biafra described and said that the Garba Shehu's confessional statement about the use of the Villa Rat invasion story to cover up former President Muhammadu Buhari's illness vindicates its detained leader, Nnamdi Kanu, who had speculated years ago, starting from 2018, that the real Muhammadu Buhari died few years after assuming office, that the man that ruled Nigeria for the last part of first tenure and second tenure was Mr. Jubril al-Sudani from Sudan. In a statement on Saturday by the Biafra Group's spokesperson, Emma Powerful, IPOB said Kanu was the first to expose Buhari's health condition and was persecuted for it. The group described Shehu's confession as a delayed confession born out of guilt and irrelevance. Where was this honesty when the Nigerian people needed it? Where was this truth when IPOB and our leader were being vilified, jailed, and labeled terrorists for speaking it? If this level of deliberate misinformation had happened in any sane society, those responsible would be in jail for subverting the constitution, undermining national security, and deceiving the electorate. But Nigeria rewards mediocrity, protects liars, and punishes truth-tellers. The truth is like the rising sun, it cannot be suppressed. Today, Garba Shehu has confessed. Tomorrow others will follow. Aso Rock is a house built on lies, and the foundation is shaking, the statement added. The former president, Muhammadu Buhari, had begged for forgiveness if he had done anyone wrong. In 2023, he said at a gathering that, "Whoever thought that there has been some form of injustice on him, we are all humans. There is no doubt I hurt some people, and I wish they would pardon me, and those who think that I have hurt them, please pardon me." Late President Muhammadu Buhari stated this in May 2023, according to the video republished on X social media platform on Sunday by one of his former media assistants, Bashir Ahmed. According to the press release by the president's spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu has directed the Vice President Shettima to travel to the United Kingdom to accompany the body of the former president back home. The statement reads in quotes thus: President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced the passing of his predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari. President Buhari died today in London at about 4:30 p.m., following a prolonged illness. President Tinubu has spoken with Mrs. Aishat Buhari. Anambra State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has repelled the simultaneous sporadic heavy gun shooting in Oko and Ekwulobia, when two separate groups of unknown gunmen engaged men of the Oko Divisional Police Headquarters in the Orumba North local government area in an early morning gun battle, and another group took over the Ekwulobia flyover bridge in the Aguata local government area of the state on Wednesday, resulting in the death of two members of the public and set ablaze the patrol vehicle of Agunaechemba, the state special vigilante group, which, police said one of the attackers was killed during the deadly gun battle. And on Thursday, the police issued new updates, stating that an additional AK-47 rifle has been recovered from one of the fleeing assailants, while Biafra armed group, the Biafra Defense Forces, in a tweet on Thursday specifically denied any involvement in the mass shooting at Ekwulobia, stating, "Those impersonating them will one day run out of luck." According to the Biafra Defense Forces, the said incident that occurred yesterday at Ekwulobia is not in any way connected to Biafra Defense Forces, BRF, BNF, BLA, and BAF. Those impersonating BDF will one day run out of luck. Biafrans beware. Anambra State Police, in a new updates on Thursday, said that the police-led joint security force at Aguata recovered an additional AK-47 rifle with a fully loaded magazine in the late hours of the 9th of July 2025. The weapon is believed to have been abandoned by fleeing armed criminals following a sustained pursuit by security operatives. This development follows a violent incident in which assailants opened fire indiscriminately under the Ekwulobia flyover and launched an attack on the Oko Divisional Police Headquarters earlier the same day. The Anambra State Police Command acknowledges and appreciates the continued cooperation and support of residents within the affected communities. Members of the public are urged to remain vigilant and promptly report any suspicious activities to the nearest security agency. The area remains calm and under control, with surveillance and intelligence operations ongoing to apprehend the remaining suspects connected to the attacks, SP Agunaechemba, Police Public Relations Officer, Anambra State Police Command stated in a press release on Thursday. Ekwulobia in Anambra State came under heavy mass shooting on Wednesday when some of the unknown gunmen could be seen in the series of videos posted online by eyewitnesses took over the flyover bridge in the community and were seen shooting sporadically, which scared both motorists, nearby residents and other road users. It was gathered that the shooting lasted more than 30 minutes. In some of the videos, a lifeless body was seen lying inside a commercial tricycle popularly known as keke, while another clip shows a man lying dead inside a shop with a pool of blood on the floor. Anambra State Police Command in a statement earlier issued on Wednesday, said that the Anambra Police-led security force contained a shooting incident in the early hours of today, the 9th of July 2025 at Oko and Ekwulobia flyover, Aguata local government area. The team also demobilized one of the armed criminals, recovered one AK-47 rifle, one automatic pump-action gun and 4 via Kenya National Human Rights Commission, KNHRC has confirmed that 31 persons have already been pronounced dead by medical doctors attending to protesters who were attacked on Monday by Kenya security operatives and armed militias when thousands of Kenya residents came out to stage a mass protest to mark this year's 7th anniversary, an event known as Saba Saba Day that commemorates July 7, 1990, when Kenyans rose up to demand a return to multi-party democracy after years of autocratic rule by then-President Daniel Arap Moi. The united opposition leaders called on all Kenya citizens to declare President William's Ruto government as an illegitimate regime that is an enemy of the people, hostile to the people, killing the people by thus boycotting all government functions and activities and delegitimize the government's businesses and actions, insisting 2027 is too far for Kenyans to wait before ending the presidency of Ruto. And in a swift reaction, President William Ruto on Wednesday visited Dagoretti, northern side of Nairobi, to inspect the construction of 540 housing units project at Kilimani Police Station, and during the visit, the president addressed the nation and declared those are apparent protesters who attacked fellow Kenyans, police officers, security installations and businesses as terrorists, stressing, such acts are a declaration of war and he will never allow retrogressive elements who want to rise to power through shortcuts succeed. Opposition leaders on Tuesday accused the government of deploying unmarked police vehicles to transport armed gangs to perceived opposition strongholds during the protests. They called for a national boycott of all businesses affiliated with President Ruto's administration, accusing his government of deploying state-sponsored violence and extrajudicial killings on Kenyans. This regime is hostile. It cannot be reasoned with. It must be resisted. We will not rest. We will not retreat. We will not surrender, the opposition said in a joint statement. Jeffrey Rigathi Gachagua, one of the opposition leaders and former deputy president of Kenya, said, on the 7th of July 2025, the 35th anniversary of Saba Saba, Kenyans took to the streets to protest. Unknown to the peaceful protesters, the tired regime of William Ruto had a well-organized, state-sponsored militia working in cohort with the police to maim, kill, destroy property, and blame it on the Kikuyu community. President Ruto's ICC cases are still ongoing and were paused after witnesses disappeared. It is clear that history is repeating itself. Ruto is hellbent on finishing his unfinished business with the Mount Kenya region. To President Ruto, I say this with a lot of humility. Please stop being angry. The people of Kenya are far more angry than you are. If you truly want this to end, then restore the dignity of the payslip. When the middle class can breathe, they will create jobs for our young people. Stop the abductions, stop the extrajudicial killings. And if you want this to end, disband the killer squad. According to the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, KNHC, the Commission is still actively monitoring and following up on all reports and incidences related to the three Israeli citizens, Liran Yakovov, Natanel Aviv and Ozchai Raham, have been convicted for stealing properties belonging to victims of the October 7, 2023 massacre when groups of Hamas fighters invaded the Nova Music Festival near Kibbutz Be'eri, barely 5 kilometers away from Gaza, with over 4,400 fun seekers at the music party and killed more than 360 persons at the music festival, which led to the state of Israel waging wars in Hamas-controlled Gaza, Hezbollah-controlled Lebanon, Iran under Ayatollah Khamenei supreme leadership, and recently in Houthis-controlled Yemen. According to Israeli-based media, Unet News, nearly 2 years after the October 7 massacre, prosecutors asked the Be'er-Sheva Magistrates Court to impose prison sentences ranging from 3.5 to 5 years and order compensation for victims on 3 Israelis, Liran Yakovov, Natanel Aviv and Ozchai Raham, convicted of stealing property from the Nova Music Festival massacre site. The defendants roamed among bodies and burned cars, grabbing whatever they could, prosecutor Tehla Needham said during Monday's sentencing arguments. She noted that some stolen items belonged to innocent civilians who fled for their lives or were murdered during the attack, adding, they desecrated the dignity of the murdered, with bodies still lying in the area. Their actions violate the most basic societal norms. The prosecution also requested a fine of 80,000 shekels, $21,000, for the defendants. Anyone seeking to rob helpless citizens will not only lose out but pay double, Needham said. The defense disputed her claims, interrupting to argue that the accusation of looting near bodies wasn't in the indictment. Saying they were near bodies or burned corpses, when it's not in the charges, is an attempt to mislead the court, a defense attorney contended, adding that the proposed punishment was disproportionate. The act was disgraceful, but not severe enough to justify such a penalty, the defense said. Judge Shoshrid responded, it's well known there were bodies there, even on October 8. Make your arguments in turn. She added that the trio's actions were planned, dismissing claims of them being foolish or childish. The verdict is expected by late September. It would be recalled that the Times of Israel reported on November 17, 2023 that police said that they had arrested 5 individuals suspected of stealing the sound equipment from a man murdered at the Supernova Music Festival in southern Israel, where over 260 were massacred by Hamas terrorists on October 7. The equipment, worth some 2 million new Israeli shekels, NIS, $530,000, was found in the homes of the suspects and then returned to Matan Lior's father. The suspects, named as Ram Shaheen, Yasser Matni, Daniel Hassan, Adam Abu Rukan and Son Tevel, were arrested in Karlansor, Hasfiya and Daliat al-Carmel. They are believed to have arrived at the scene of the massacre near Kibbutz Re'im after the violence died down, taking advantage of the chaos to make away with the expensive equipment that soundman Lior, 35, had brought to the party. Police said that an indictment would. Flights at McAllen International Airport on Monday early morning were delayed for several hours as 27-year-old gunman, Ryan Louis Mosqueda, ambushed and shot at the United States, U.S. Border Police Patrol agents in Texas, injuring 2 police officers and a Border Patrol employee, the suspect was later shot dead at the entrance of the U.S. Border Patrol Federal Building. This occurred less than 48 hours when, on Saturday, a North Texas police officer was ambushed at a DHS facility and shot in the neck by 8 men in body armor. These incidents happened amid nationwide rise in threats to immigration and custom enforcement, ICE personnel and Border Patrol agents over President Donald Trump immigrants' deportation policy. Local media reported that the federal agents returned fire at the suspect, identified as Ryan Louis Mosqueda, who was armed with a rifle and wearing a utility vest. Mosqueda was killed at the scene, McAllen Police Chief Victor Rodriguez said. U.S. Department of Homeland Security, in a statement on its X social media handle, stated that, this morning an individual opened fire at the entrance of the United States Border Patrol Sector Annex in McAllen, Texas. Both Border Patrol agents and local police helped neutralize the shooter. 2 officers and a Border Patrol employee were injured, including one shot in the knee. All 3 have gone to the hospital. This is an ongoing investigation led by the FBI. While blaming politicians for the continuous attacks on security operatives, the U.S. Homeland Security Department said, this administration is not playing games with the lives and safety of our ICE officers. ICE law enforcement is facing a 700% increase in assaults against them due to rhetoric from politicians like Mayor Bass. Secretary Noem's message is clear. If you lay a hand on a law enforcement officer, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The suspect never made it inside the building but fired many rounds at the building, Rodriguez said. Mosqueda has a Michigan address and arrived in a car with additional weapons and ammunition inside, the police added. McAllen police responded to the scene shortly before 6 a.m., where the shooter attacked the federal building with an assault rifle at about 5:45 a.m., according to local media and residents. Local media added that Ismael Garcia, a 10-year veteran with the McAllen police who responded to the scene, was struck in the knee during the shootout and is in recovery, quoting Chief Rodriguez, who said it during a news conference. 3 officers sustained gunshots injuries from inside the building as bullets shattered the windows, sending shards of glass flying, according to local media. Incidents like these make us realize that we've to always be on guard to keep our community safe, Rodriguez said, adding that the officers and a Border Patrol employee who were injured, including the officer who was shot in the knee, are expected to recover. It was gathered that law enforcement officers at the scene found additional assault weapons and ammunition in the vehicle, and spray-painted writing was found on the side of the vehicle. Police is yet to provide further details of the lettering and stated that it's unknown if it's connected to Imo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has given reasons why a suspected kidnapper, Obinna Orji, who the police said his gang are responsible for series of kidnapping and armed robbery in Anambra, Delta and Rivers states, has not been charged to court since he was arrested, while condemning an ex-social media post published by an account holder named Fisayo Suyombo, who has raised alarm that the police arrested and detained Obinna Orji, he described in the post as a businessman, for 8 months without charging him to court. In a swift reaction on Saturday, Imo State Police Command, in a statement issued and made available by the command spokesperson, Okoye Henry, narrated and listed the alleged crimes committed by the detained Obinna Orji, saying, the kind of crimes Obinna is allegedly involved in, are capital offenses that police has no right to grant his bail, and the delay in taking him to court is because the alleged crimes cut across multiple states which required more time for proper investigation. Fisayo Suyombo, who often introduces himself as an undercover investigator, had tweeted on X social media on Saturday with a photograph of the police officer in charge of the case and said, SP Ola, the officer in charge of the anti-kidnapping unit of the police in Imo, has been detaining Obinna Orji, a 43-year-old businessman, for 8 straight months without charging him to court. SP Ola says nobody, not even the IGP, can compel him to act otherwise. And the police replied and said, the Imo State Police Command is aware of a recent misleading publication on the social media platform X, authored by Mr. Fisayo Suyombo, alleging the unlawful detention of one Mr. Obinna Orji by the officer in charge of the anti-kidnapping unit, CSP Olademeji Odiyewa. To set the record straight, Mr. Obinna Orji is a key suspect in multiple high-profile cases of kidnapping and armed robbery. He is an ex-convict previously remanded at the Okigwe Correctional Center, 2017-2019, over conspiracy and armed robbery charges. His most recent arrest was based on credible intelligence, linking him to a criminal syndicate involved in trafficking stolen vehicles acquired through violent crimes. Consequently, Agunaechemba and his syndicate ran out of luck when they kidnapped Chief Ikenna Okafor on the 15th of November 2024 and dispossessed him of his Toyota Highlander SUV, a gold necklace, and other valuables worth over 20 million nairas, after which a ransom of 10 million nairas was paid. Swift tactical operations by the anti-kidnapping unit led to the arrest of two suspects, Chidozie Chukwu and Uchenna Chukwu, whose confessions subsequently led to the arrest of Agunaechemba, identified as a key figure in the kidnapping operation. During interrogation, Mr. Orji voluntarily confessed to receiving and selling vehicles obtained through armed robbery and kidnapping. His confessional statements significantly advanced ongoing investigations and led to the recovery of several stolen vehicles across Imo, Anambra, Delta, and Rivers states. These include a black Toyota Highlander, another Toyota Highlander with a Bonyi registration, a black Range Rover Sport, 4 minibuses, and a Toyota Camry.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.